Hi guys, welcome back to the Knitting Expat Podcast channel. My name is Mina and today I'm going to be doing a knitting podcast. There we go. Today is Tuesday the 13th of April. I had hoped to try and film at the beginning of this month. As I mentioned in my last podcast, I'm trying to move my podcasting day or time of the month to the beginning of the month rather than at the end of the month, because I always feel like I end up a bit rushed at the end of the month to try and get a podcast in on time. But this last month, the majority of my knitting has been design work that I'm not able to share right now, mainly because it's designs for the sock club. So I haven't been able to share that knitting, and therefore I had nothing really to talk about in that I was able to share. There wasn't a huge amount to say, but I do have a little bit today, thankfully. I have some, not a lot. Still not a lot to show you, but I have a little bit. So I figured before it gets too late in the month, I would sit down and do this podcast. It'll probably be a lot shorter than usual, which probably isn't the worst thing. I have a lot on my plate right now, so having a slightly shorter than usual podcast won't be too bad. Although having said that, I thought last time was going to be short and it still ended up being 45 minutes or something, so we'll see. Right, so like I said, my name is Mina. You can find me online as Knitting Expat most places, on Instagram, on Ravelry, I'm Mina Phillip. I also have, I design and sell knitting patterns on Ravelry and Payhip. Both of those are linked below. Actually, everything is linked below in the description box on YouTube. If you need to find me in different places, everything will be linked down there for you. So today we're going to talk about some news and announcements that I have to share, which is really exciting. And then we'll move on to finished objects, works in progress, spinning, which will be very short because there has been none, and then some other bits and bobs towards the end, and that should be about it for today. Okay, so for news, first off, I have filmed a prize winners video for the Persian cowl that I've been hosting for the last few months. That ended at the end of March, and I've drawn the prize winners for that. So that video will be going up tomorrow, or basically the day after you see this video. So if it's anyway, that'll be up soon, if not already. So you can go check that out to see if you're a winner, if you took part in the knit along. And then, what other news do I have? Oh, I've also drawn all the prizes for the Knitcrate video that I did a couple of weeks ago. So actually in that video I said I was going to give away one of the Knitcrate packages that I'd unboxed in that video. I decided to give away all of them because, quite frankly, I'm somewhat inundated with stuff right now and I kind of want to get things out the door and I want to give stuff back to you guys. So I'm giving away all those packages. All the winners have been contacted either via the YouTube comments or via Instagram. The only two people that won left Instagram names, so I contacted them via Instagram and on YouTube, and everyone else I've left replies to your comment on YouTube. So be sure to go check that out. I'll check your notifications on YouTube to see if you've won, and then get in touch with me. Send me an email. My email address is knittingexpat@gmail.com if you're a winner, and just let me know that you're one of the winners, your username on YouTube, etc., and we'll sort that out. Then what was the other thing? Oh yeah, and then I had two more Knitcrate packages that came through, and I did the unboxing for those on Instagram, on my IGTV on Instagram, and I've posted a post about that on Instagram as well, giving away to give away those two packages. So make sure you go check out my Instagram, which is just Knitting Expat, to enter if you want to win one of those packages as well. I'll actually be showing you those later in this episode because I haven't shown them on the podcast yet. Okay, then in other news, as of like a couple of weeks ago, I decided, hey, why the hell not? It's not like I've got enough going on in my life. Let's start another YouTube channel. Because that seems logical. Anyway, no, so I decided to start a second YouTube channel for my watercolors, my artwork, and my art journey, as it were. So for those of you who've been following this podcast for a long time, or who have bravely gone back and watched some of my earlier episodes, you'll know that I started my podcast pretty much exactly a year after I learned to knit. So I was still very early in my knitting days at the time, but I was very enthusiastic about learning to knit and about sharing my progress, and I hadn't seen a lot of podcasts or YouTube channels from other knitters who were new to knitting. A lot of the podcasts and videos and channels that I followed at the time were from, you know, people who'd been knitting for, I don't know, 5, 10 more years, and there wasn't a lot out there from newer knitters. Anyway, I kind of had that same feeling with watercolors and just with art in general, that a lot of the channels and people that I follow are very experienced, very good at what they do, and that's amazing, and it's very inspiring, and it's great to learn from people who know what they're doing, essentially. But I thought it would be interesting to share the perspective of someone who's newer to the medium, to the craft, and to the just general art world. And so that's kind of the purpose of the channel, is to just, you know, share my journey, the good, the bad, the ugly, basically what I did with my knitting channel, but kind of with art in mind. And yeah, so not everything's going to be like perfect, not everything is going to be amazing, but you know, I'm hoping to share my journey, sharing what information I've learned with everyone, and just having some fun with it. Really, it's just a fun channel, and I just want to create videos that I would want to see myself. So anyway, that channel is called Mina Does Art Stuff, because that's me, and I do art stuff. So as you can tell, I'm not great with coming up with fun and inventive names for things. I'm very literal when I come to naming stuff. Anyway, I will have that channel linked below as well if you'd like to go and check it out. I'd really appreciate it, and if you'd like to subscribe, I'd appreciate it even more. It'd be great to have you over there. So yeah, if you have a minute, please go and check that out. The videos on that channel are a lot shorter. They're all around I think 10 to 15 minutes max. Some are shorter, some I think I only have 1 or 2 that are coming up that are going to be a little bit longer, but definitely keeping things on the shorter side for that channel. Like I said, just some fun painting stuff over there. And yeah, like I said, I think I covered it. Okay, so let's move on to finished objects. So the first 2 things I'm going to show you actually are the first 2 patterns from the Around the World in 8 Socks sock club. So my March pattern was the London socks. I didn't actually have the socks to show you last time, which was a bit silly, but this is the pattern. It's lovely, sort of, it's just a knit pearl texture, so it's a really beginner friendly design. Works really well with lots of different dye styles, and it's a great sort of entry into this sock club, as it were, because things are only going to get more, I don't want to say more difficult, but I guess technically yes, more difficult, but it's just basically more than just knitting and purling is all it's going to be. Okay, so it's a good warm-up, basically. This pair of socks is a good warm-up for the rest of the club, and so far I've been loving seeing all of your socks popping up on Instagram and on Ravelry and the threads. Yeah, I'm loving seeing that. So the yarn I use for this one is by Fruitful Fusion, Ishrat, and she's based here in the UK, and the colourway is called London Dusk, which I think is a perfect name for this colourway, and I love it. Then this month's sock pattern, so for April, we went to Paris, and so these are the Paris socks, and these are just a really fun texture pattern. It looks a lot more complicated than it is to knit. It's twisted rib, and there's some slip stitches and eyelets and really fun stuff, and it just looks really elegant, and that kind of just makes me think of Paris. Elegance and Paris sort of go together quite nicely. And yeah, really fun. A nice sort of step up from just the knits and pearls. Still lots of knits and pearls, but adding in some additional little stitches in there, and it's actually very meditative to knit. That's a hard word to say. The yarn I used for this was by Trailers Yarns, and it's in the colourway La Louvre, so lovely sort of mustardy yellow colour, and again, I love it. Then in a couple of weeks, the next sock pattern will be coming out, so I'll have to wait and see what that one is. Thankfully it's all done, blocked, photographed, ready to go. My next finished object is another pair of socks. I've basically had socks on the brain for the last month, mainly because of the sock club. I've been knitting, I think I knit 4 of the sock patterns for the sock club this last month, so I'm trying to get ahead of myself. So I've also knit these pair of socks. This was knit out of my own hand spun that I spun earlier this year as part of the Fluff to Stuff year-long event that I am co-hosting with Mask of Hey Brownberry and Grace from Babel's Travelling Yarns podcasts and Instagrams. And yeah, so I knit up this pair because I really wanted to use the yarn. The fibre, I believe, was from a UK dyer, the Shepherd's Hut, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's a superwash merino and nylon blend. So perfect for socks. It didn't have a colourway name, it was just these lovely oranges and reds and yellows. And I used my what's the word, cobblestones sock pattern from Beyond Vanilla Socks Part 1. So this is the cobblestones sock pattern from that first collection of sock designs that I released. And yeah, really love it. And speaking about the Beyond Vanilla collection, I can't remember if I mentioned this in the last podcast or not. Did I show these in the last podcast? Now I'm starting to have like thoughts of like, am I just repeating myself at this point? I can't remember. Anyway, the Beyond Vanilla socks Part 1 and Part 2 were two of my very first sock collections that I ever published. And the way I write my sock patterns now are very different than I did back then. I still had my German short row heel included in those patterns at the time. I believe those were the first patterns which had that heel included. But since then, I've expanded the sizing options that I provide in my sock patterns from the 3 standard sizes. I think it was like 56, 64 and 72, the standard sock sizes that are typically included with sock patterns. I now offer a range of 7 different size options, from 48 stitches up to 80 stitches. And I now write my patterns toe up and cuff down. Previously they've all been written cuff down only. They are for the most part charted and written out as well. I don't include charts for super basic patterns, but a lot of designs now do have charts and written instructions included specifically for each size. And then I also have the addition of my modified heel flap adjustment, which is now included with all my current patterns, but are not included with these original collections. So I'm planning on at some point this year, probably over the summer, I'm going to update the patterns to be more in line with what I offer now and modernize them essentially to my current standard. And they will be essentially relaunched, republished. Anyone who's already purchased the socks, be it either individually or as the collection, will get the updates automatically. You don't have to pay anything extra or you don't have to buy them again or anything, but the price will go up to be more in line with how I price my sock patterns now. So if you wanted to get in on it while the price is still low, then now's a good time to grab these patterns before they get updated and the prices go up, because if you buy them now, you'll get the update when they happen and you'll get it for free, like for no additional cost. I'm not going to charge you extra once I do the update, you're just going to get them. So I wanted to get that information out now to you guys. So for anyone who's been on the fence about getting that collection, maybe that will help make up your mind. Okay. Other news, I just realized I forgot to add something else to the news section. I think I probably mentioned it last time as well, but I now have a newsletter, which is really exciting. I now have a newsletter. I'm going to be sending out my first newsletter hopefully end of this week, maybe early next week. It depends when I actually get to sit down and write it. I'm really bad at writing and I always procrastinate the writing of anything. So I'm not that kind of person who's going to be sending you newsletter emails every single day of every single week, because I don't like to write. So I will only be sending out newsletters when I have something to tell you. And maybe only once or twice a month at most. Anyway, just wanted to let you guys know I have a general newsletter, and I actually also have a test knitting newsletter. So if you want to be notified when I have a test knit coming up, sign up with the test knitting newsletter option. I'll have both of those sign up links down below. In other news, and this is definitely new since the last time I podcasted, is now all of my patterns are available on Ravelry and on Payhip, so you can choose which option you would like. Going forward, all my patterns will be available on both of those platforms, and yeah, so I hope you will again, both of those will be linked below, and I hope that helps you guys out for anyone who is unable to use Ravelry now since the changes. Then yeah, I'm really happy that I can offer you another option. All right, moving on to works in progress, and I only have the one to share with you, and this is being knit out of my own hand spun. This is some old hand spun that I spun a couple of years ago now, and I spun this from a loop fiber bump. I can't remember the name of it, but it was basically a gradient of like really dark sort of black to purples, and there was black at both ends. That's why there's black here. I didn't pull it from the other end of the cake. There was black at both ends of the yarn. So I just started, cast on a bunch of stitches. I think I cast on 208 stitches. No, 204 stitches, and cast on, started knitting some ribbing, and decided to do my seeded path cowl pattern. So I'm going to get that up close, you can see that texture there. Again, it's just a knit pearl texture. It's really fun, really lovely, and I'm knitting this as a gift for one of Layla's teachers at preschool. This teacher in particular has been there with Layla pretty much since she joined this particular nursery. So when Layla joined this nursery, she was in the babies room, which is from 0 to 2. Then she went up to the 2 to 3s classroom, and then now she's in preschool, which is from 3 to 5 or until they go to school. And so this person, this teacher in particular, has been her key person in babies and in preschool. And Layla's very attached to her. She was away for a few weeks. She was off ill. It wasn't coronavirus, but she was off ill for a couple of weeks. And Layla really missed her, and then when she came back she was so excited to see her. And so since Layla's going to be leaving later this year to go to big school, I wanted to knit her a thank you present sort of thing. And also I remember over the winter she made a comment about like not having a cowl or something, or like her husband kept stealing her cowl and stuff, so I wanted to knit her a cowl that's just for her. And Layla tells me her favorite color is purple, so we're going with purple. She's said it a few times now, so I'm thinking it's true, so hopefully she likes purple. I think she actually has a purple coat as well that I've seen, so I'm pretty sure she likes purple. So we're hoping here. And I think this is going to be big enough to be, once it's washed and blocked, it'll be big enough to be either a double loop cowl or a nice looser single loop cowl for her to wear. It's a bit hard to tell right now because it is a bit squished up on the needles, and because it is knits and pearls, it has a bit of that rib to it, so it'll definitely be stretchy. And I only started this 2 days ago, and I'm already halfway through my yarn. I've used up half the yarn now, so it won't take long to finish. It'll basically be double this length, so it'll be a good length cowl as well. And so yeah, this is going to be for Layla's teacher. It's the first teacher gift I've ever knit, so I can't believe she's going to school in September, like actual school in September. Like, what's happened to my child? Where's my baby? Last night Perry and I did the whole like the thing you should never do just before you go to sleep, and that's scroll all the way back in your phone, like photo and video reel, to see your child's baby photos and videos and just like basically melts over them. And it's just like, what happened to our baby? She's so big now. She's like a little, well, she is a little person. She's not a baby anymore. Anyway, as for spinning news, I'm pretty sure I showed you guys this last month that I'd prepped this fibre to spin, and I still haven't spun it. I haven't sat down to spin at all this last month, and I miss it. I do want to start spinning, but I think I'm putting too much pressure on myself because I really want this to be a sock spin. So I think I need to actually spin something else before I spin this, because right now I'm kind of not in the headspace to really focus on spinning. So I think I need to pick something else and just have a for fun spin where I'm not really thinking too much about it and just spinning for the pleasure of spinning. Yeah, I think that's what I need to do right now, because every time I think about spinning, I'm like, oh, I need to spin for socks. And then I feel like I'm just putting too much pressure on myself right now because I'm not in the headspace for that. So so yeah, I'm gonna go dive in my box of fibre that I've picked out for the Fluff to Stuff year-long event, and I can't see where my box is right now. Our living room is a bit of a state. Things are in flux, and we're trying to tidy up and organise and declutter all at the same time, and it's a struggle. Anyway, I'm gonna pick out something just for fun to spin and not stress about it. Okay, I think that's everything I wanted to tell you guys, to be quite honest. I think this actually will be a shorter episode. I'm just going to check my phone because I have been keeping notes on things that I wanted to tell you guys about that have happened since last time, because I forget otherwise if I don't do that. So So actually last week, one day, when I went to pick up Layla from preschool, they've got a new system now. Before, during this whole COVID thing, they've had parents picking up from, like each class picking up from a different access point, like different door to the building. So, but now they're having everyone pick up from the same door, but it's like one at a time because adults are still not allowed in the building. So now there's like queues that form outside the preschool, outside the nursery in the mornings and evenings when we go to pick up the kids. And so the other day I went to pick up Layla and there was a bit of a queue and I was waiting, and the parent in front of me who went in, got his kid, came out and he was like, I've been waiting so long. And in that time while we were waiting, it started snowing in April. He went in, came out with his kid, and he made a joke of like, he sort of said this thing as he was walking past. He was like, waited so long, it's now winter again. What is going on? Layla loved it though. She was so surprised. She was like, it's snowing, and she was like running around. I think I posted a video to my stories of that on Instagram as well. But it's crazy because literally the weekend prior to that was Easter weekend. So this is literally 2 or 3 days after Easter Monday. It snowed. But that weekend, on the Friday, Good Friday, we went to the beach with Perry's family. The week before Easter was the first week we could start meeting up with people outdoors. So we went, backtracking a bit again. The week before Easter, on that Monday, the first day we could meet up with people outdoors, I met up with Perry's mum outside the park with Layla. It was so hot, Layla was just wearing a dress. Like, she didn't have a coat on. It was nice. It was like 22 degrees. It was sunny. It was beautiful. We had a picnic. We fed the ducks. We went to the playground. It was just a really nice day out. Socially distanced, of course, but like a really nice day out. And then fast forward a week later, it's snowing. Like, what is going on? Anyway, the Good Friday, we went to the beach with Perry's family. We had fish and chips out the back of our car, which was a lot of fun. And then went for a walk on the beach. Then I think Saturday we spent the day at home because Layla was a little bit unwell, like she had a runny nose basically, bit of a cold. And then Sunday we went to Richmond Park in London. Richmond is in London. In Richmond Park with my parents. It's kind of like equidistant from both of our homes, so it was a nice place, easy place to meet up. We went for a picnic. Again, Layla loved it. She was a little bit under the weather still, so she was very snuggly and wanted lots of cuddles, and so I gave her lots of cuddles, but she also played quite a bit with my parents, so that was nice for them. Then, like I said, I've got the newsletter going now, and because I've been doing so much design knitting recently and not stuff that I can necessarily share on Instagram and stuff, I've been doing a bit of a design retrospective, like a throwback to my old designs on Instagram. This last week, sort of showcasing some of my previous patterns that you guys, if you've not been following for a long time, you might not know about, or designs that you might have forgotten about. It's just nice to sometimes look back on old work and see how things have changed, or remember the inspiration behind certain pieces and stuff like that. And whilst I'm starting to have stuff that I can share again, I probably will still every now and again throw in like a little bit of a throwback design review, look back sort of thing every now and again on Instagram as well. So a lot of you seem to be enjoying that, and I'm enjoying it too. So there's that. Oh, I mentioned about the watercolor channel now, so that's fun. Go check that out, please. Anyway, oh god, yeah, this is really funny. So we have our local council collects our food waste, like compost waste that we put out, and they collect it once a week, which is great. But the bin that we put it in has like a handle, and when you put the handle in a certain position, it locks the lid so animals can't get into it. Anyway, a few times over the last few months now, we've gotten up in the morning and found an animal has managed to get into the bin and it's left like a mess outside our front door that we've had to clean up. And you know, we've combated it, we've made sure we lock the thing, doesn't matter, they can still open it. They're clever animals apparently. We keep thinking it's foxes because we hear foxes at night sometimes, so we're just assuming it's foxes. And so then we started putting that bin on top of one of our other wheelie bins so they can't get to it, and that typically works, but sometimes we still manage to forget. Anyway, the other night I was up here doing my own thing. I wasn't actually listening, I didn't actually have the TV on at that particular time, and Perry was downstairs, and I just heard something outside our front door, and I was like, it's the stupid foxes again. it's the foxes. I could hear it sounded like that little bin moving around. So I got up, I turned on the front light, opened the door. What was literally right in front of me, in front of the front door, a huge freaking badger. Like there was a badger outside our front door, and I was just like, okay, close the door again, because it was really close. It was literally in front of our front door, like on our doormat. I was like, Perry, you might want to come and see this. Unfortunately, I didn't have my phone on me. I wish I'd taken a picture, because Layla was really interested when I told her about it the next day, and I, you know, Googled photos of badgers to show her what they look like and stuff. But I really wish I'd managed to take a picture of it. But I called Perry up, and we opened the door, and like you could sort of see him around a little bit further down in front of our home, and I was like, yep, that's a badger. So yeah, we've got badgers apparently trying to get into our food bin, so that's fun. Anyway, then what was it? Oh, this last weekend, since Thursday until about Sunday, I've really not felt great at all. I've had like this really weird head cold, and I basically had like a 3-day headache. It got to a point where I was like, if I'm not better by yesterday, then I'm gonna have to go to the doctor or something, because this is getting ridiculous. And actually now in the UK, they've opened up testing, like the rapid tests for basically everyone can get them. So Perry went and picked some up the other day, so we have a bunch of those that we could just do ourselves at home. And I did do a rapid test on Sunday evening, I think, just to check if I had, and it came back negative, which I assumed it would. But just in case I did have to go to the doctor on Monday, I could be like, look, I did do a test, so I can come in if I need to see somebody. Because they always say, like, the first thing they say is like, have you been tested? If you call them, you tell them you're ill, like that's always going to be the first thing they ask is, have you tested for COVID, to see, you know, but that's like the first thing they want you to check. Anyway, thankfully yesterday I felt okay, which was good, because yesterday turned out to be one hell of a roller coaster of a day. Woke up in the morning to a snow shower, like serious snow, like huge fluffy flakes of snow coming down. So Layla had her breakfast, we got dressed, and we went outside in the garden to play in the snow. Like it wasn't a huge, it was settling, but it wasn't going to settle so much that it was going to be like snowballs and snowman type of snow. But it's April and it's snowing. What is going on? So we went outside, and Layla wanted to take photos of the flowers in the snow, and we took some photos, and then we came back in, and then we actually went out again. We went into town, because yesterday was the first day that the shops were open again. And there were a couple of things that I wanted to get. I actually wanted to go to the art shop in town. We have a specialist like art shop. It's actually one of the oldest art shops that's still open in the whole country, apparently. They've been open since like 1880s, I think. But it's really old. It's over 150 years old now. That shop, so that's pretty incredible. And so we went to check that out. We went there. We had a couple of other things we needed to do in town now that some of the shops were open. So we went and did that. We were walking into town in the snow, and then by the time we were walking back, it had stopped snowing, and it was starting to get a little bit warm even. And again, what is going on? We get home, and then Perry was telling me that Hugo had been going constantly back and forth to the litter box, was constantly licking himself, and that he thinks he saw some pinkish color in his pee when he went to the litter box. So quickly called the vet and was like, can I bring him in for an emergency appointment just to make sure that he's not got anything serious going on, just check what's happening, because this is not normal. And yeah, Layla and I rushed him to the vets. They checked him out. Thankfully they don't think he's blocked, because that was the main concern, is that if he's blocked and not able to pass anything, then that's really dangerous. But he's not blocked, thankfully. He was just a bit inflamed, a bit irritated, so they've given him some medication to help with the inflammation, and hopefully that will make it go away. They're doing some blood tests just to rule out some other things, and yeah, so back home now. That took a while actually, because when we got there the vet was in surgery, so we had to leave Hugo there, go to a few shops, like kill some time basically, then went back, and picked him up and then came home. So it was a day. By the time we got home, I'd been mostly outdoors from around 8 AM till almost 3 PM. It was a long day. I'm not used to this anymore. I'm not used to being out of the house for such long periods of time. I mean, we had come back home in between. Obviously we were home for Layla to have breakfast, and then we went out, we came back in, we went out again, then we came back, we had lunch, and then we went out again with Hugo and then came back. It was just a lot of out and in. It was a lot for one day. After like over a year of being predominantly at home and not doing anything, it just felt like a lot all of a sudden for one day. But yeah, anyway, that's basically what we've been up to. The weather's been crazy, can't make up its mind. We have snow in the morning, sun in the afternoon, and we've all been a little bit unwell, but still doing okay, but still kind of a bit unwell. Oh, it's all just a bit crazy right now, honestly. There's a lot going on. Hopefully I will have some news to share in the coming weeks. I am not pregnant, before anyone guesses. This is not how I would tease being pregnant if that was the case. I would not tease it either. I would just tell you when I was ready to tell you. Sorry, it just really bugs me that when a woman says, oh, I have something to share but I can't share it yet, immediately people think pregnancy. Like, why can't it just be something else? Because it is. It's not that. Sorry, it's just a pet peeve of mine. So anyway. All right, I think on that note, I'm going to end the podcast here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I will see you guys again very soon, I'm sure. And yeah, I hope you have a great week. Take care. Bye.